Hello guys, welcome to another video. This time around I will cover the latest changes to the game and gonna show you some matches with Astelan, and I think he is very good. I only did 10 games right now, but I have 80% win rate with him, and um, we are gonna test it out further. So, about the changes, we got a lot of changes. First of all, knights have been nerfed. The flame cannon now deals damage only to the enemy warlord and adjacent units. While I think that this is a cool change, I do not think that actually this balances knight in any way. I do think that they needed to touch other cards. This is still a good change because it makes the Canis matchup way more difficult, and also mid-range mid-range warlords that can put out a lot of troops can avoid the flame cannon deal 2 to basically everything. So I think that now Ras is much more of a difficult matchup for knights, and maybe also Blooded Angels, because you already want to place things according to the Requiem mechanic, so this comes really helpful against comes really helpful for Blood Angels against Knights. I though think that they need to touch House Vaironi for sure and increase the cost at least by 2. So make it a 3 cost card and not a 1 cost card that can basically win you the game outright. And also another thing that they could have touched is House Maccabeus and make it gain +3/+0 until your next turn, because right now with this and Orders of Terra for 8 energy you have a 12 damage shot, and if you have a drilling site that 2 has Maccabeus and Order of Terra, you can 20-0 someone. So this card is very strong, and I think that Vaironi is way stronger than House Maccabeus, but they need to address something in this faction, and I do not think that the Flame Cannon nerf is enough, and still Grave Walker is the best warlord for knights. Another change that I do think was not necessary at all is the reduced healing for Whispers. So if we go in the Whisper section, Whispers of Chaos and Reckonings, they are cards that every Primarch gets, and they now heal only 5 instead of 8. And this is kind of impactful for Angron and for warlords that rely on the Whispers to go off and wreck a ton of health, such as Kurz and Jakatai Khan, and even Sanguinius. Warlords that face bash will suffer from this 3 healing much more than, let's say, a Horus or a Fulgrim, for example, that do not rely on Whispers that much, and even Magnus, of course, or even Lorgar, because often when he transforms he didn't lost that much health. But still, is a change that I do think was not necessary at all. And then we have another change which is really interesting instead, that is the change to Kalidos Assassins. Now she has the Relentless Heal 1. She has this basically in her Kalidos form, so not her transformations. And this is interesting because if they hit you, you are gonna take 1 less damage. So if they bash for 2, you only take 1 damage and you out-trade them just because of the relentless effect. I played a bit of matches. I do think that I'm not a great Kalidos player, and I tried a desperate defense build that was having great success early on, like 75% win rate. Then I fell off and tilted a bit, so the win rate dropped too. I do think now that this card though can still be a great warlord for flexible mid-range build, and also with desperate defenses is not that bad. Although I would argue that among the neutral warlords, Tadeusz Fail is way more interesting because it starts with one more energy and has medium initiative, which means that often he can start first and play an asteroid belt, and now you have a warlord with 4 energy at turn 1, which I do think is very strong. Kalidos, though, is basically always starting first unless you have a mirror match or you are against Jagatai Khan. Then we also got a change in the pool of warlords. We lost Homed, which was a beloved warrior, and that for 2 energy he drew a card. If it was a tactic, he dealt 3 damage to any target, chose randomly, and with a creature instead he reduces the cost by 2. And we lost Meros, which was a fine tech against Korvax and Mortarion, for example, and the Death Guard in general. And we lost the last one. I do not remember, but was not that important. And then we gained Israfel, which is a warlord that has 2 energy. Choose a card from your deck among 3 and put it in your hand. It's very useful for fishing for Asteroids Belt for turn 1 and then play turn 2. And is also she also gained Ophion, which is the Night Lord warlord that gains shield for 1 energy, and if he attacks and kills something with battle honor, he gains frontline and shield until your next turn. This is interesting because the shield lasts until it's broken, so you can actually transform Kalidos Assassin in something else and still maintain your shield. And we also gained Cork, which is this guy. He heals 2 for 1 energy, which is really good, and if he attacks something, he gets frontline and +1/+0. And this actually help a lot the Kalidos Assassin in a mid-range build with maybe Sekutari Axiarch or Lastaol and the classic mid-range stuff, Jubak, of course. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, overall I think that Kalidos Assassin though is a very strong warlord right now. It's very difficult to play, but it can give you some great satisfaction. And then we have the new card, which is in Mechanicum, Forbidden Protocols. This card is at first very medium, but can be really powerful in the right deck because it can give you a random buff to a vehicle. Now this random buff is always a +1/+1 and can go up to +2/+2 in any combination, so +1/+2, +2/+1 and so on. It gives you always a Mark of Chaos, and very rarely this gives no additional effects. Otherwise gives you a buff amongst the Bloodthirst, Ward, Flank and Survival 1. And then you can very rarely get 2 or 3 buffs with it. And this is particularly strong with Emperor's Children um, and White Scars, because they have a lot of fat and juicy vehicles, such as Golden Keshig, this one, Golden Keshig. She can act again, and if you have this down, he plays something and you give this Bloodthirst, you can bash his face, bash the creature, then bash his face 2 times again, because he can act again. And we have Kiazagan Speeder, which is another really good card. This can immediately hit the enemy's face, and it will be at least a 5/6 with Cleave 2, and also if he gets Bloodthirst, you're dealing 10 damage right away. And maybe if you get Markov Core, you can deal 14. So it's very random, but I think it's really good. It can make also interesting use. World Eaters can make an interesting use of this card with the Speeder and Cyrex Speeder, which is fast guy. And if this gets +1/+0, +1/+1, and maybe Mark of Zinch and Ward, becomes very difficult to kill. And also on Lorg for Angron, this can become very, very big. And also maybe a Ravenguard can use it pretty well. They have a lot of sneak attack guys, such as Solero bikes, but mainly scimitar jet bikes. These can come in, they will be a 5/3, maybe they get Bloodthirst and Survivor, and now they have you have a 5/3 that kills 2 things when it comes in, and actually it's not easy to deal back with it. So I think that this is very strong, and of course you can play it with Nicona or Corvus or even 6. And maybe also Custodes can make use of it, because they have this, and this with Bloodthirst is one of the scariest things in the game, I think. And of course neutral vehicles are always very strong, such as Hydra or Doombringer. And so these were the changes. Now let's take a look at the build for Astelan. I have Pride of Caliban that I purchased today. It's a very strong card. Athias, I still do not have Ramiel. Then we have Charisma, which is the most important card maybe in the deck. We have Sibilance for bouncing effect, Caliban Knight, Zarion, Tartian Squad, Strategic Mastery as a replace for Ramiel. We have Local Uprising for Swarming, and also Caliban Knight helps. Melgator for bouncing along with Sibilance. Phasedian Infantry and Arbus Lighter for draw, Command Bridge for draw, and maybe take out Caliban's Art, Irresistible Charisma, or the Pride of Caliban. We have Defensive Satellites for mirror matches and swarms. We have Praetor Castiel, because this with Pride of Caliban builds up a really strong combo for late game. We have Brand of Fire that deals damage and helps us control the board. And Athias is an overall great card, beefy body, and makes the enemy think twice of removing it or leaving it on the board, because you are trading for 0 damage on you when you attack. So let's jump into some matches. Wrong button. Okay, so I lost one against Angron and one against a Myrmidon Extractor, but I wanted to show another one against Extractor. I do think that this matchup is very interesting. We ditch away Caliban's and Drilling Site. We keep Sibilance, Phasedian, because this makes us draw, and Sibilance can actually buy us some time. Ooh, we get Pride. So we make a 1/1 and we do a Phasadian infantry. We could have shot for 3, but I think that having this is way more valuable. Now he has 1 mana back. We also got a strategic mastery, which can come in really useful because we can build up a big board, and after he will struggle to remove it. Since neutral warlords, unless they play the volcanic fallout, they have random damage removal, such as defensive satellites. Now we actually take this turn in order to kill Jubak, and I think we play Pride of Caliban, yes. Now we have a very dangerous Castiel that can come down, and at 10 energy we can dish out 3 per 4, so 12 damage, and build up a 6/6. Now we deal 1 here, and we sack in order to deal the other 3. Otherwise could have played the Caliban Knights in order to take Last Owl down. Now we make a 1/1. We do not face bash that much because this deck does not have a lot of healing, so you need to be very careful about your health. Now we have local uprising in order to make more tokens, and we can make another one with Caliban Knight, and then we can strategic mastery. I did not make the extra 1/1 because I wanted to bash for 5 and actually put some pressure on him. Now Doombringer comes down. We use the counter attack. We can deal 2. We can play Ajajo Squad and Sibilance and actually hit him for 6. You can do this combo a lot, and actually you deal a ton of damage, and it's very strong. Now we bash because big boards, if he has defensive satellites, he basically wipes our board for free. Now he has to kill the Sibilance. This guy, by the way, is crazy good. Very, very strong. Now we have a Charisma. But I really wanted to put out Castiel, and now every time something dies we can act again, so we sack continuously the Jaeger in order to continuously deal damage to the enemy board. We hit his face. Now he bounces back the castle, but we can play it again next turn and do the same thing, because if he bounces this he cannot kill the Jaeger unless he plays a spell. He did it, but now we can create a Jaeger with our ability and play the castle and do the same thing again. Play Last Owl. We have Tartian Squad. So Jaeger out, play the castle. Now we can act again, sack the Jaeger. He makes another Jaeger. We can sack it again, make another Jaeger, and then I think I attacked the Last Owl because I wanted to die. I'm at 13, I'm not worried about dying. He hasn't his thing charged up, and he actually needs to remove the Castiel. But I can make it again next turn, so it doesn't really matter how much he tries to bounce this. This gains flank and actually removes two things and also bounces back my Caliban Jaeger, and now I can play it again and deal another 3 along with sacking the 7-2 because he's gonna die anyway to his 3rd damage burst. And now he's at 3 and there is nothing he can do because I could steal everything he plays with Charisma. Now in this moment I was really scared because 2 Mortal Strike actually kill me, and this is why you need to play very cautiously with your health. Which is one of the reasons I lost versus Angron. I could not keep up with his damage potential. This against Sanguinius also shows the amount of control you have on the board. These two.
While we bring war to millions, we should not crave it.
We fly on righteous wings.
We do our standard play of double 1-1. He plays a Medido squad. Which is annoying, but we drew a Lajo squad out of Phasidian infantry. We break the drop pod because we don't want this to activate, and we play the Ajajo squad and make a bit of a board. Now he plays Elayanus and discard against Disciples of Caliban is awful because we can take it out without actually taking any damage with 2 1-1s, and then we can play Caliban Knight and make a bigger board. He plays the Engeltiers, but it's a very weak play because we can bounce it with Sibilance, we can kill it no problem with 3 Calibans and our face. And actually we deal 3 damage and bash it with our face. We keep Sibilance because we want to bounce maybe things that eventually will come in, so we have Kaizu lane, but even this is not enough because with 2 Jaegers we can take it out, no problem. And we do exactly that. Then we bash with the Sibilance. If he wants to take this out, he has to face bash and deal another 3 damage to himself. We can sack the Jaeger and deal 3. And then we can make another Jaeger or play another Caliban Knight. And now he has no way to come back from this. So, last game, maybe this one against Raldoron is interesting. Again, the defenders of Caliban are really strong versus mid-range decks, so we should not have that many issues with Raldoron, also because we have a lot of small things, but he cannot kill us with his active ability because of duplicity. We draw a card, we can play a Lajo squad now and control the board in case he plays a Medido squad. Now we can play this, break the capsule, destroy it with a Lajo squad, And now we have a 4-3 and 2 1/1s on the board. We do not have a great hand though. Now we buff this and also plays counterattack. We draw a card, and this is why this card is very strong, because it makes you draw anyway. We play another 2 1/1s and another 1/1, and now we can simply start clearing him. He will kill this, but I do not care that much because we draw a card out of it, and also wastes him 1 energy. And we have a strong turn 6 because of Castiel or Attaias. Also Zarion is pretty strong. You play the Castiel. We bash with this because he will create another 2 again, so doesn't matter. We kill the 1/1. So he does not have 6 damage on the board to kill the Castiel. Well, he has, but he has to face bash. And now he uses a card in order to kill the Castiel. So that's fine. Now we can fish out for 5 damage on the Ferveos command squad. And we can actually play this plus Caliban Knight with Asbos Lighter. And make another 1/1. And we are slowly grinding him down. We now start to face bash because he's in a very dangerous position and he surrenders. I do think that was a bit early to surrender this game, but gonna take it. So this was the deck and the games. I hope you guys enjoyed the content, and see you guys next time.